If you don't like selling, you should really take the time for yourself to practice it and learn it, because all of life is sales.
I always tell people, what you don't know can be your greatest asset if you let it, because it ensures you're going to do it differently.
We're doing things the way either someone else showed us how to do it, or we saw and learned from watching. And real change only happens when you do it different than everybody else.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men all my life. Like 9 and 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 and 9. This one's for my top 10.
Need motivation?
Watch Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. So get ready to stop being afraid to fail, practice the skill of selling, and have a vision with Sara Blakely and my take on her top 10 rules of success to give you the confidence, motivation, and belief that you need. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule #1. Don't be afraid to fail.
My father, growing up, used to encourage my brother and me to fail. And that he would say at the dinner table, "What have you guys failed at this week?" And if we didn't have something to tell him, he would actually be disappointed. And I can remember saying, "Dad, I tried out for this and I was horrible." And he'd high-five me and say, "Way to go." And what he was doing was reframing my definition of failure. I didn't realize it at the time, but for my brother and myself, failure ended up becoming not trying versus the outcome.
Rule #2, practice the skill of selling.
What is it about selling that you actually enjoy, that you think most people don't enjoy selling? So what is it about selling that you actually enjoy?
Well, okay, this is the first thing I'm going to say. If you don't like selling, you should really take the time for yourself to practice it and learn it, because all of life is sales. I mean, whether you're an accountant, whether you're a stay-at-home mother and you're trying to sell your kids on why they need to go to bed at a certain time, or they need to do something that you need them to do. In an interview, you have to sell yourself. I mean, and so I think it's really important to be able to do that. And hardcore door-to-door sales was incredible groundwork and laid the foundation for me to be able to do Spanx, because when I started Spanx, the first 2 years that I was cold calling all the manufacturers in North Carolina, I only heard one word. No.
Yeah.
I mean, no. And because I had training and just knew I'm going to keep going till I get that yes, that's the reason that I was able to get through that stage.
Rule #3, have a vision.
When I was in my late 20s, I saw myself on the Oprah Winfrey Show. That was my Polaroid picture. I don't know where you want to be or where you're headed, but I really feel like you should see it first. And maybe you're sitting at a table with world leaders, maybe you're driving a certain car, maybe you have certain flexibility in your life from a hours standpoint, whatever it is. For me, I was sitting on the stage with Oprah, and for the next 10 to 15 years of my life, it felt like I was filling in the blanks. I was really curious what I was talking to Oprah about, and I couldn't wait to find out, because I saw myself there and we were talking, and I remember always thinking, what are we talking about? I can't wait to figure this out. And if anyone had come up and whispered to me, "It's footless pantyhose," I would have said, "You're crazy."
Rule #4, expect to hear no.
If you're doing something that hasn't been done before, or you want to really make change, you have to expect the word no, and you have to expect resistance and that people think you're crazy. If people don't think you're crazy and you don't hear the word no, you're really not breaking ground. So don't worry about it if you're hearing that. You know, so I heard a lot of no. I made a lot of fumbles along the way, you know, through manufacturers. That one manufacturer went out of business and only gave me a week's notice and almost put Spanx completely out of business, and I had to scramble to figure, I mean, literally just owning a business is dealing with obstacles.
Right.
All day, every day. That's what it is. It's like, how am I going to take this lemon and turn it into lemonade, and then take it a step further and make a lemonade stand and then sell the lemonade with it?
Also, if you want to hear from other successful women entrepreneurs, check out my 254 Girl Boss series. It's free. The link to join is in the description below.
When I was selling copiers door to door, I had a very clear vision of what my life was going to be like.
From day one, I never tried to hide that I was the girl in my apartment with the red backpack.
Rule #5, protect your ideas.
I I didn't tell anybody my idea for 1 whole year. And it's very important to tell the people that can help move your idea forward, but I didn't share it for validation purposes, and no one had shared that with me. It was sort of a gut feeling. But ideas are the most vulnerable in their infancy, the moment you have them. And this is the moment that we always want to turn to a friend, a coworker, a husband, and tell somebody the idea. Well, the minute you tell somebody the idea, ego has to get involved. And then you end up spending all of your time defending it and explaining it rather than pursuing it. So I feel like more than anything, the reason why I'm not still selling fax machines is because I kept it a secret for 1 whole year. And all my friends and family can tell you, they would say is, Sarah's working on some crazy invention. We don't know what it is. And after 1 year, I sat them all down. I said, okay, guys, it's footless pantyhose. I mean, you should have seen their faces, like, what? And out of love and concern, I heard, if it's such a good idea, why hasn't somebody else done it? And sweetie, if it is such a good idea, you'd use your life savings, and the big guys might knock you out of the water in 6 months. And until I'd invested this much of myself in this, I think if I had heard that a year ago when I cut the feet out of my pantyhose that day, I'd still be selling fax machines.
Rule number 6, take calculated risks.
Being an entrepreneur is about taking risks, but it's about taking very calculated risks and being, protecting the downside. So I didn't quit my job selling fax machines until I had already invented the product. I was working on it at night and on the weekends for 2 years. I was driving around North Carolina where most hosiery was made, begging a bunch of manufacturing plants to help make it. And I didn't quit my job until I had already landed Neiman Marcus, Saks Fifth Avenue, and got a call from Oprah.
Just a typical day.
Then I was like, okay, I feel confident to quit, but I needed the income that was coming in and I needed my health care benefits. And I was working out of my apartment in Virginia Highlands, and I ran Spanx out of my apartment for 2.5 years. And it was crazy. I mean, I'd semi-trucks pulling up twice a week to this apartment, and my neighbors were like, what's happening? What's going on? But I was so conservative with my finances in the beginning. I was very scrappy, and still am really scrappy.
Rule number 7, have courage.
I always tell people, what you don't know can be your greatest asset if you let it, because it ensures you're going to do it differently.
Absolutely.
And when I landed Neiman Marcus, all these people came up to me and said, I have been doing this for 7 years, 10 years, 5 years. How did you land Neiman Marcus? And I said, I called them. And they just looked at me and I was like, why? What do you do? They're like, well, I go to trade shows and I set up my booth and I'm waiting for the Neiman Marcus buyer to come by. And we've been doing it every year for 7 years. I didn't even know there were trade shows.
Wow.
So sometimes just not knowing how it's supposed to be done. You have to have the courage, though, to say, even though I wasn't trained in this, because a lot of people think, well, I didn't go to school for this, so how could I possibly know? But it's inside of you.
Rule number 8, have an entrepreneurial mindset.
As an entrepreneur, I'm such an advocate for everyone to think like an entrepreneur. Whether you want to start your own business or not, it's incredibly helpful no matter what. And so thinking like an entrepreneur inside of organizations, or if you are starting your own business, I always say, I love to tell the people around me to do this. Close your eyes and take a minute and think about how you would be doing your job if nobody showed you how to do it. What surfaces? Because if you think about it, we're all on autopilot. We're doing things the way either someone else showed us how to do it or we saw and learned from watching. And real change only happens when you do it different than everybody else. So all the time I put myself through mental exercises where I'm like, wait a minute, I know everybody's been doing it this way for a really long time, but is that the best way? And I just see what comes up. I also come across ideas and inventions by going throughout my day, looking at objects and saying, now, how could that be better? And why did the person who first created the gum which gum to me is so fascinating. As someone who started a brand with $5,000, had to get an idea out there that didn't already exist, the footless pantyhose. I love to think about people who first introduced things to society, and I think about the guy who did gum. I'm like, you want to talk about, can you imagine? I thought I had it tough. This guy's walking around going, you just chew it. You just put this wad in your mouth and people are probably like, and then what? Don't swallow it, you just chew it. Like, that's a pretty hard sell, at first. And I think that gum had no flavor in it when it first came out, so that's even crazier to me. But everything from the pencil to the fork to the chair we sit in to the car that we drive, somebody originally had the thought and brought it forward to society. So get off autopilot, look at everything, every object in your life, the way that you do things. When you get up and brush your teeth, is there a better way to brush your teeth? Is it the right way to be doing it? And see what comes.
Rule number 9, don't seek validation.
I didn't have focus groups. I wasn't seeking a lot of outside opinions. I always say that an idea is its most vulnerable in the moment that you have it. And it's also human nature that in the moment that we have an idea, we want to turn to our coworker, our friend, our husband, our wife, and say, here's my idea. And I didn't do that. I did not seek validation for my product. I did pursue it. So I told, manufacturing plants, I told patent lawyers my idea. Anybody that could help move my idea forward, I was sharing it with. But mom, dad, friends, and I have the best family and friends, I kept it to myself. And no one told me to do that. It was an intuition. And I just, at that point, I didn't want ego to have to get involved in the process too early. And I didn't want to have to spend the time defending and explaining my idea. I wanted to spend the time pursuing it. And I truly believe that had I not done that, Spanx wouldn't exist.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is have fun.
I heard that actually you love music and art, which is awesome. And I also heard that there's a special song out there, maybe A Wink from the Universe, that's one of your favorite songs. I just wanted to know a little thing about that, what it is and why it's special to you.
Okay, I thought maybe you were about to sing it to me. I got so excited.
Maybe I will.
Okay. Well, yes, it's Sarah's Smile by Daryl Hall and John Oates. And since I was a little girl, every time I hear that song, I believe that it's the universe telling me everything's gonna be okay. And
I love that.
It seems to come on at the right time when I need it most.
I love that. Well, should I sing it? Should I do it? I'm gonna come up and do it.
What?
Let's hear it for Adam.
Oh my God! You're gonna make me cry!
Nice to meet you.
Oh my God!
Here, go to the center.
Okay.
We're gonna give her a seat. Hold on.
Wait, what?
We're gonna give her a seat right here.
This is
Sit
unbelievable.
Right
okay.
This is crazy. Okay.
Someone's.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Wait, I'm seriously so excited.
Okay. You know what? I just thought this would be a lot better with a band, right? Are there any musicians in the room? Anywhere? Musicians? What's happening? Oh.
Oh my God!
Wow. All right, I want everyone to give it up for Tahila Alfonso, Greta Pasqua, Brandon Davitt, Devin Monroe, Ethan Tash. Sarah, this is our thank you to you for being here, a little special surprise.
Oh my gosh.
And we hope you like it. Thank you everyone for being here.
I start to cry. This is so awesome. Thank you guys.
Baby hair with a woman's eyes, I can feel you watching in the night.
Now I have a special bonus clip from Sarah on how to be kind to yourself that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1, where do you need to have more courage? Number 2, where do you need to stop seeking validation? And number 3, what's the calculated risk that you need to take? And if you made it this far in a video, I wanna celebrate you. Give me a hashtag believe down in the comments as well.
The one thing that I feel like has helped me the most is to be kind to myself. So I realized that as a mother, when I became a mom, I spent a lot of mental energy beating myself up. Like, feeling so guilty. And when I was working, I was beating myself up that I wasn't with the kids, and mentally. And when I was with the kids, I was beating myself up about that. So I think a lot of mothers were our own worst enemy. And when I really stopped and said, I don't know how to juggle all this. Some days I feel like I'm doing it right, and some days I feel like I just want to cry. At least I made that change, and it was a huge change for me. I just catch myself when I start doing that to myself, and I change it to kindness and forgiveness.
As opposed to beating yourself up.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, it's all right.
Yeah.
And then that helps me stay more present also.
If you want 10 more rules from Tony Robbins, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.